Hello, everybody. I am so excited that you're here. And for those of you who have not worked with me before, I just wanted to introduce myself and say a huge welcome. I'm Dr. Nadine, and I am a healer, a teacher, a medical intuitive, and a naturopath. And over the last 30 or so years, I have been honing my skills so that I can share them with you and teach you the tools that truly allow you to eliminate drama from your life. Tools that quiet the noise in your head, quiet the noise in your workspace, and provide well-being. And I just think that's really important, that we as humans know how to be well and incorporate our well-being. Those are two different things. Being well, being healthy, being vibrant, being well, and that part of how is my well-being as well? How do I show up in the world? How do I present myself? And in that part of quieting the noise and eliminating the drama, we have an opportunity to create balance and ease. So again, thank you very much for joining this Energy Tools workshop. Just a little bit of logistics. There will be 3 sessions. This first session that we're going to be doing over the next hour or so is the beginning. And this is where, in this time frame that we're together, we will be using 4 to 5 tools that are for immediate use. I mean, literally, you will be using them in this moment and from this moment forward. In the second and third sessions, we will be using the tools taught tonight to go deeper into your situations. For example, we will be looking at how do I separate my energy from other people? How do I make a separation from an event? Let's say I give a speech or teach a class or do a presentation at work and it's over. How do I use the tools to clean up my energy so that I can return to my home and participate in my home easily and effortlessly? In one of the sessions, we will be using what we call a truth or lie rose to simply clear energy out of your space around you, around specific emotions or time frames. But there's just a lot, quite a lot that we're going to be exploring together. And it all begins with this very first session. So welcome again. I'm very excited that you've taken this time for you, that you are gifting this to yourself so that you can receive. So would you just take a breath with me? Nice big inhale, eyes open. Nice big breath, and just let that breath out. And this is actually the very, very first tool. When we take a breath, it allows us to be in present time, present moment. So let's do that again. Just take a breath and exhale. And do it again. Take a breath and exhale. And this time, instead of taking a breath, would you allow yourself to receive a breath? Receiving a breath from what I call all that is, a universal source, God, if you like that word. We don't want to get stuck into what something is called. You know, there was a long time in my own recovery, my own therapy, my own remembering who I am as a being of light. The only way I could think of God was the moon. You know, the moon was bigger than I am, and I could reach out to the moon and, you know, really goes like, yes, I can see that that energy is larger than what I am. And I came from a background of parents who were preachers, and it was really difficult to expand and explore my own belief systems when others, the teacher, the preacher, the mom, the dad, when somebody else's energy was being forced on me. So as I was going through my own, and I say recovery, I think it's just that process where we all hit that crossroads in the road and know we have to make a decision. Am I going to keep doing what I've always done? Or am I going to say, self, I'd like to know how to unravel some of these patterns that I do in my life. And in my particular case, I wanted to know how come I kept attracting the same types of people, specifically men, in my life. Men at that time that held me down, that I literally handed my power over to. So in these tools, we are going to be looking at those separations. And am I leaning forward, or am I holding my own power? Am I giving up who I am? Am I trying to solve everybody else's problems? So take breath again. As you can tell, there's quite a bit of noise and drama that we can add to our lives. And I think you'll find as we work through these tools that most of the drama and the chaos that we run through our physical, mental, and emotional bodies really is not ours. It really does not belong to us. So I'm going to chat a little bit here with specific things. If you have paper and you like to take notes, you can. However, I will also be sending a synopsis of what we do to you in the mail so that you can have these for yourself. It would be lovely if you simply gave yourself permission to experience tonight, or if you're listening to this in the afternoon, but to experience this first session rather than having to take the notes, be in the rational mind, and miss out on the experience that you can have fully. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is congratulate yourself for getting you to this call. And what that can look like is you can either clap for yourself, but the one I really, really like is when you reach out your hand and put your elbow underneath your other arm, and then bring that arm together and pat yourself on the back and saying, good job. Good job. So everyone do that out loud where you are. Good job. Do it loud. Good job for getting yourself here. And good job for taking the first tool, which is simply to take a breath. And take another breath. As you may have discovered, I'm recording, so I will edit the recording and have it available to you. And so that we do have a clean recording, meaning I'm not hearing everybody else's background noise, I actually have all of you on mute so that we do have a clean recording. And I will make sure I go through and edit any things that need to be edited out so it's available to you. I will ask something of you. There's always a giving and a receiving and a giving. And it's that circular path of energy. The agreement that I would like to have with everyone is that you use this information for yourself. And if you have other people who would enjoy this, please invite them to take the webinars for themselves and to make their own financial exchange so that there is the receiving and the giving, and we can keep everybody in that loop of having this. And take a breath. So tool number one, that breath brings us into present time, present moment. And that is so key. There's many times where we find ourselves way out ahead of ourselves or living in the past. I want to talk about the fact that we have thoughts and we have emotion. I'm sure you can look at your own life and go, yes, I definitely have thoughts, and they run like a gerbil in a running track. Round and round and round and round and round we go. And then if we take those thoughts and we, what's the key word here? We personalize them. So let's say somebody says, wow, I don't like the color blue, and you happen to be wearing blue. In that moment, we don't hear, that person did not like blue. What we literally heard was, they don't like blue on me. And we personalize that. And the moment we personalize the me part, we took responsibility for a comment or something that was completely non-intentional to spin us out of place. But we do that, and we hand our power over to that person. And then the emotions start rattling around. And if you've ever watched, hockey is a great one, a great visualization, but football is another great visualization. In football, if the ball is supposed to be going, say, to the left, and all of a sudden that football is going to the right, and no one has the ball, you will see a complete pile up on that football, 20, 30 guys on that ball. That's what emotions do around a thought. So if somebody says something, I don't like your blue shirt, and we personalize it, there's a charge on that thought. And then we take that emotion and we literally wrap the thought with emotion over and over and over and over and over. And then we say, I don't want to ever experience this kind of pain and drama ever again. And we put the big wad of ugh behind us. So here's a perfect example. Personal message. My husband, when I was married, my husband said, I could love you if. And I won't tell you the if. It was very hurtful. And that grab of what he said, I could love you if, I completely shut down. And all those emotions of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what did I do wrong? If I did this, he would love me. If I did that. So there's all these triggers that literally got wrapped and 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 wrapped. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you relate to it? Wow, I can relate to somebody said something nasty and I personalized it. Take a breath. Let it go. So when we have a thought that has a lot of charge on it, and we have all those emotions, and we put it behind us, saying, I never, 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 you've been there before too, right? I never want to experience this kind of pain again. It goes behind us. And the really sad part about it is the universe will give us exactly what we're asking for. The key thing here is that the universe isn't listening to the words that say, I never, 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 ever. What the universe is picking up is the emotion, that sadness, that rejection, that abandonment, all of that, they told me no, all of that emotion that is running through our body, because where is it? Behind us, right? So all that emotion, they're standing in front of us, all that emotion goes through our body, right into that backpack, and suddenly it feels like somebody slapped you across the face because here's that thing you said you never, ever, 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 ever wanted to experience, and it's sitting right, slapping you right in the face. Can anybody relate to that? So what I'm manifesting, what we're manifesting, is that very thing we said we didn't want, but it has the authority. We gave it the authority. We wrapped it in a nice tidy bow, and we are holding that backpack, if you will, around our lives, and that's what we keep manifesting over and over and over. So many years ago, when I asked my own question, why is it I keep attracting the same situations, the same people, the same drama over and over? This is why. And the truth about all of this is, when this guy said those words to me, had I had these tools, I could have cleaned that energy up immediately. And I could have given him back all of his, whatever he was working on. And look at myself. When we leave this world, we don't take our baggage with us. There's no room on the trip for the baggage. And there's, another thing is you really can't bring anything new into your life if you're still holding on to the crap from yesterday. So take a breath. Would you like a tool that will allow you to release all of the thoughts and all of the emotions that do not belong to you? Would that have value? And hopefully you're saying yes. I can see your heads shaking. So we're going to move on to tool number 2. And tool number 2 is called a grounding cord. And I'm going to give you a couple options. Again, we're in kindergarten, so I'm going to explain what the tool is, and then we're going to walk through the tool with your eyes closed, and then we're going to walk through the tool with your eyes open, just so you can feel. But before I teach you the tool, I would like you to tune inside, tune within, and notice how your body is feeling right now. Notice where you're holding tightness or pain. Your body will tell you. You literally will never lie to yourself. Your body will tell you exactly what's going on with yourself. So a grounding cord has 2 parts. There's a straight line and a coil. And we've already talked about the fact that we have thoughts that are electrical. That's the straight line part. And we have emotions that are magnetic. That's the coil part. The purpose of a grounding cord is to release, to siphon off all the thoughts and all the emotions that do not belong to us. Really awesome tool. So this first pass, we're going to do this with a tree. I think this is an easy way for you to visualize and feel the grounding cord. So if you would allow your eyelids to close, and take a breath to bring yourself into present time, present moment. And have you ever been outside and saw a tree? Have you ever been on a hike and saw those massive, massive, massive redwood trees? Would you find a tree, any tree that's calling to you, and would you sit down at the base of the tree and literally feel yourself sitting down on the ground, sitting down on the trunk itself? And I'd like you to look above you. Above your head is the canopy of the tree, providing shade, maybe providing a breeze. What's even more important is what is below you, the roots of the tree. And just for information, the roots of a tree are 3 times larger than that canopy you see above you. 3 times larger, to give plenty of room for those roots to go down, down, down into the soil, down into the earth, where it gets nurtured and nourished from Mother Nature. So would you, sitting on your own tree trunk would you simply say hello to the roots of the tree? Notice how big they are, how thick they are, how long they are. And would you give the command to the first chakra that sits right at the base of your spine called the coccyx? Would you give the command to your first chakra to connect with the center of the tree trunk, that you and the tree are one, and those roots are your grounding cord? And take a breath. Now, by your right hand, there are two things. There's a flip switch, an on-off switch, and a dial that goes from 0 to 100. Would you turn the flip switch on, activating the grounding? And then you choose how much of a release you would like to have. 0 to full release. Hint, hint, hint. Full release. And take a breath. Now, as I look around the room, it's very common for the very first time you choose a grounding cord for it to be tiny, 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 tiny. It's that lack of permission. So I want you to just be amused at yourself and find a little tiny bit of humor in your creation and the tree that you chose. And would you simply give the command for that tree trunk to now be the same size as your hips? Like those centaurs, you know how the centaur has the upper body of a man and the lower body of a horse? Well, here you are, upper body of a human and lower body of this grounding tree. Many roots. And would you say hello to Gaia, to the Earth Mother? She is going to come up to the bottom of your grounding cord, and she's going to assist the roots of going all the way down to the center of Earth, center of planet Earth, where she needs fertilizer. She needs the crap that you're going to be releasing. And take a breath, bringing yourself into present time, present moment. There we go. Now, would you give the command to that grounding cord to be twice as large? Just notice what you notice. Notice how the body changes. Notice how your breath changes. Notice what happens to your shoulders and your spine. Just notice what you notice. And be pleased with yourself. And take a breath. And now would you ask yourself, self, how big does my grounding cord really need to be so that I can release all this crap that is not mine effortlessly, easily, to where I can laugh and I can play while all this release is happening, and allow the grounding cord to expand. And notice what you notice. And take a breath and breathe your eyes open. And now I would like you to just get up and walk around the room that you're in, noticing that as you walk around the room, that your grounding stays with you. No matter where you walk, you are still grounded into the earth. It moves with you. If you go to bed, it moves with you. Just walk around, notice what it feels like. And then come back to your seat. And would you be pleased with yourself that you created your very first grounding cord? Now, what I'd like you to do is detach it. Let it go, and it's literally going to slide down into itself all the way down to the center of the earth. And I'm going to show you how to do a different kind of grounding cord. Take a breath, it's okay. Now, close your eyes for a second And right out in front of you, like you were looking at a television screen or a computer screen, would you simply imagine a beam of light that's about 2 feet long? And now would you reach out with your non-dominant hand, grabbing the top of the beam of light, and would you reach around and plug it into that first chakra right at the coccyx? Give it a little tug, little pull. Drop the other end. And again, would you now, around this straight line, would you imagine a coil? Remember, we said the straight line is going to release the thoughts that are not mine. The coil is going to release the emotions that are not mine. So straight line and coil. And no, it does not matter which way the coil is going. That's the rational mind. Having a little chat with you. And then again, flip the switch on and send the dial to release. Full release. And then again, invite Gaia to pull that straight line and coil down to the center of the earth. And take a breath. Just notice, does this grounding cord feel the same, feel different? It's up to you. You know, there's so many ways. I teach making grounding cords out of pillows. You know, there's no rule of what a grounding cord has to look like. The key is that it has those two components. Something to siphon off the electrical charge, the thought, and a component that siphons off the magnetic part, the emotions, and that you turn it on and that you activate it. So again, would you say, well done, I have two tools now. I have a tool that says I'm going to take a breath to bring myself into present time, present moment, and I have a grounding cord. So I'm going to be reminding you throughout the course of this call to widen your grounding cord. Widen it. We have a tendency to shrink it back up to the size of a pencil. And one of the slick tools that I found is to simply give it the command to be 3 times larger than the crap I'm getting ready to release. That's enough space, 3 times larger. Another little thing that I love to do with the grounding cord is to dump some oil down the grounding cord so it's really slippery and nothing can attach to the sides. So right by your right hand, there's a big bucket of liquefied Crisco. Woohoo! Would you just knock it over with your foot, allowing all that oil to go down the straight line, down the coil, all the way down, if you're still on a tree trunk, all the way down those roots, down to the center of Gaia, so nothing is going to go, oh, I have to cling back on over here. I'm a Klingon of crap. We're going to let everything go. Lots of permission to let go of everything that's not you. And would you take a breath? How do you feel? Do you notice something different? So while we're just sitting here, I want to show you one more tool before I talk about consciousness. One of the things we do is we give our power over to others. And there is a place called the center of your head that you are the only one who is allowed to be in the center of your head. So anytime you hear somebody else's thoughts going through your head or a song that just will not stop playing, it's usually somebody else trying to get into your energy field, into what we call your aura. The center of the head, we need your hands and your fingers, so eyes are open. Grounding cord is there. You're taking a breath to be in present time, present moment. Would you take your fingers and put them right out in front of you with your pointer fingers pointing up? Like you look like little rabbit ears. Would you take those pointer fingers and put them right on your temples, that little soft spot right at the divot of your eye? And then put your fingers to where the tip of your finger literally is pointing through the center of your head to the other finger. And I would like you to draw a line from one finger through the brain to the other finger. Easy, simple. Now release them and put one finger right in front of your head above your nose and the other in the back by the occiput. And would you draw a line from the point in front of you to the point behind you? Take a breath. Right there where left to right and front to back intersect, that is the center of your head. So on one breath, would you simply allow yourself to be in the center of your own head? Take a breath. Notice you're still grounded. Just look to see if you need to give the command for your grounding cord to expand again as you sit in the center of your head. You have all the permission in the world to decorate this room however you would like. For right now, I just want you to see if anyone else is in the center of your head. Moms are notorious for trying to step into your head, whether they are alive or not. But the beauty of the center of your head is you are the only one that belongs there. It's your private space. So, if you would like to clean out that space, you can get a bucket and mop the floor. I like to use a fire hydrant hose, one of those big hoses with lots of coming out of it, and just make a circle around the room and blow everybody else out of the center of your head. And laughter right here is wonderful. It's priceless right here. So now we have 3 tools. Taking a breath, which brings us into present time, present moment. We have a grounding cord that's sole purpose is to siphon off the thoughts and the emotions that do not belong to you. And to be in the center of the head, that intersection of the line on your temple from left to right and right above your nose from front to back, right where those 2 lines intersect, called the center of your head. Again, be there now, and be the only one in the center of your head, and take a breath. I would like you to be right there while I explain to you the 4 levels of consciousness. So we're very creative, and there are four phases or 4 levels of consciousness. The first level or first layer is where we are completely unconscious of being unconscious. Meaning we have no clue what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And, there's many times where it's perfect. I don't know that my car ran out of oil, and if it did, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Sad statement, but there's a lot of people in that situation. But we're unconscious of being unconscious. We have no clue what we do not know. Okay, take a breath. The second layer or phase of being conscious is that we become aware, so we are conscious of being unconscious. So sticking with that oil thing, I know that the light went on in my car and said, hey, help, you need oil, somebody needs to look at the oil. And you're conscious of it, and you also know that with the new computerized vehicles that we have, that sometimes it's faster and more efficient to take the vehicle to somebody else and let them do the work. But we're conscious now. We're conscious that we went unconscious. We're conscious that there's something we don't know. And most of us, when we come into this work, you got here for a reason. So you're conscious that there's things you don't know about. You know, it's the cluelessville. And we go, yep, that's where I'm at. Okay, take a breath. The third phase of being conscious is that I am unconscious of being conscious. I'm not aware yet of when I'm really truly present. It's kind of like, well, I'm still in that learning phase. Am I or am I not? And we question ourselves quite a bit there, but we're unconscious of being conscious. And then the fourth layer, what we are all working towards, is being conscious of being conscious. I know what I know. And that's truly where each and every one of us on our path to remembering ourselves as a spiritual being, we all want to know who we are so that we can walk into a room and say, this is who I am. And own it with every cell of your being. This is who I am. Now just notice as I say those words, how your body, all of them, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, how they're all responding to that statement. I am who I am. And just notice if your body started jerking all around, or if the rational mind starts saying, oh, no, you don't. You don't know who you are. How dare you think? We're going to turn it down. And we're simply here going to take a breath, bringing ourselves into present time, present moment. We're just learning the tools right now. Say hello to your grounding cord again. Give it the command to be 3 times larger and be in the center of your head. And would you be pleased with yourself that you just learned these few tools right here, and notice what's changing in your body. And notice if you're still tight in a couple places, but notice you're paying attention, you're being aware, you're becoming conscious of what you've been holding on to in your body. Well done. So we're going to let those 3 tools kind of sit there while I talk a little bit more about the next tool that we're going to use. I would say, the grounding cord and the rose tool are by far the most powerful tools you can have in your toolbox. The breathing, the breath, obviously has to be in your toolbox because it brings you here right now. We're not in the future. We're not in the past. We are in this breath. Take a breath, this breath right now. So the rose tool is huge. It's gigantic, the power of the rose tool. So raise your hand if you have ever seen a rose. Good. Has anyone ever brought you a rose so that you know what they feel like and smell like? Or have you given a rose to somebody else so you know what they feel like and smell like? There's a concept that says a high vibration will always absorb a slower vibration. I'm going to say that again. A higher vibration will absorb a lower, slower vibration. So a visual here, if you were cooking and you were wanting to make a batter that would eventually be like a brownie batter or a muffin batter, you would start with eggs and something, it's eggs and milk, let's say, and you would whip that up to a very high speed. So you have a high vibration, And then the recipe will usually say, fold in the flour, fold in the butter, fold in the chocolate chips, fold in whatever. But they're dry, so they're a lower, slower vibration, but your mixer's mixing. And as that speed is at a higher vibration, when you fold in the dry, it becomes one. That faster wet vibration, higher vibration, absorbs and mixes in the lower, slower vibration. The key here is a high vibration will always rule out and absorb a lower, slower vibration. Take a breath. On planet Earth, the highest vibration that we have is the vibration of a rose. And if you've ever been around people who sell or experience essential oils, they'll let you know how the price of a pure rose oil is. And if it's that really high potency one, it's like $800 for an ounce. Bulgarian rose, I think that's the one we're looking at, but high vibration. So the power of a rose is high vibration, where sadness or being depressed is going to be like between 10 and 30 megahertz on a sound scale, a vibration scale, where the rose is way up high. You know, it's sitting up there, let's say 800. I don't have those numbers specifically in front of me. You can look up the megahertz of different vibrations. The concept here is that a low, slow vibration is sad, depressed, fear, anxiety. Low, slow vibrations. Happy, smiling, I like myself. Those are higher vibrations. And when we can go to that part of I love who I am, very high vibration. And, you know, do I expect you to get to the I love myself tonight? Probably not. However, we're going to use the rose tool simply as our guiding point, our symbol. And what this is going to signify is what's mine and what's not mine. Make sense? This belongs to me, that does not belong to me. So a lot of times, if you are walking around property, you'll see a fence line. And the fence line simply says, my property ends right here, and I'm responsible for mowing the grass and, you know, picking up the poo and pulling the weeds on this side of the fence. But, you know, the weeds that are on the other side of the fence, not my responsibility. And take a breath. The rose does this very same thing. It is a delineation of what is mine to own and what is across the field for Shakespeare's theater. So would you just out in front of yourself, would you imagine a rose, create a rose in your imagination, and I simply want you to be on your side of the rose. Take a breath. And I would like you to visualize everyone else in this class is on the other side of the rose. And your job is on the other side of the rose. You're being a mom or a dad or a boss or a father, or, you know, we said mom and dad. Whatever the drama is, the workplace, the concert, the driving, the errand, Shakespeare's theater is on the other side of the rose. And take a breath. All that says is I'm responsible for what's on this side of the rose. This is a great tool, awesome tool to use. When you're on the phone with someone, put a rose right at your ear. You're responsible for what's on your side of the rose. The other person is responsible for their own, how they show up. If you're watching television and there happens to be a catastrophe movie or a action adventure, you know, something that's really crazy, on the other side of the rose, so that you can manage you on your side of the rose. Take a breath. awesome tool to put in front of your computer screen. I'm responsible for what's on my side of the rose, so what I have on my piece of paper on my desk. If I am being triggered by the email, I can choose to close the email down. I can choose to close the browser window down. I'm only responsible for what's on, say it with me, my side of the rose. And take a breath and be pleased with yourself. Now, right about now is when, when we can see that delineation, it's like, oh, I don't have to hold all of this for the world. I don't have to hold up everybody else's issues on my shoulder because I'm only responsible from where that rose is to me. And the real truth is that's even too much. So what I'd like you to do is to hold your hand out in front of your body, as far out as you can reach. Reach your fingertips way out in front of you. Now turn your palm to face you. That, my friends, right there, where your palm, those 4 fingers are looking right back at you, that is the edge of your aura, your energy field. So take a breath with me. We are going to put you into a container using the rose tool. Now take another breath. Say hello to your grounding cord. Be in the center of your head. And you can do this right now, this first time, with your eyes open or eyes closed. It's up to you. Would you imagine a rose? And would you plant it right in front of your face where those fingers turned and looked back at you? Plant a rose right there. And take a breath. You choose. Is the rose open wide? Is it closed down? Do I have a stalk with thorns or not? Do I have leaves? Your choice, your rose. Just have that rose planted right in front of you. Now, remember, you have permission to play. Would you duplicate that rose? Make a copy of it. And would you grab the copy with your left hand and literally turn it to your left and plant it on your left side, same distance where your palm is facing in? Take a breath. Now go back to the rose that's in front of you, and would you duplicate it again? This time, would you grab it with your right hand and place it arm's distance away on the right-hand side? Okay, look at the rose in front of you again. Would you duplicate it again? And this time, would you put it behind you? Good job. Now look at the rose in front of you. Would you duplicate it again? Would you reach up and put it above your head? And would you look at that rose in front of you and duplicate it one more time and put it below your feet? Here's my boundary line. 6 points. I sit in the center. I have a point in front of me, behind me, to my left, to my right, above my head, and below my feet. This belongs to me, only to me, and I am only responsible for what is happening inside of these 6 points. Take a breath. So how do I want to be inside these 6 points? So if your eyes are closed, would you open them? Would you stand up and walk around your room in the center of your head with your grounding cord 3 times larger than what you're releasing. The grounding cord knows exactly what it was created for. And again, it's to siphon off that which is not me. Enough said, that which is not me. Siphoning off. And now I know where I begin and where I end. So with your eyes open as you're standing, would you stop wherever you are around the room? And with your eyes open, would you touch the rose in front of you? Say hello to it. Hi, here's my point in front of me. Say hello to the rose on your left. Hello, rose. Turn around. Say hello to the rose behind you. Hello, backside. Say hello to the rose on your right side. Look above your head. Say hello to the rose above your head. And now look down below your feet and notice that the stem of your rose goes halfway down the grounding cord. Take a breath. Now, very consciously, knowing that you're inside of those 6 points, eyes open, grounding cord on, center of your head, would you just walk around your living room, maybe walk into another room? Make sure you can still hear my voice. Take a breath. Be present where you are right now. And then bring yourself back into the room. Find your chair. Now, if we had an open phone line here, I would like to do that. It's just I don't want to lose this clear recording that we have. Say out loud in your room 2 or 3 things that you are noticing about what's changed. What do you notice in your body? What do you notice in your emotions? What do you notice with the carriage of your spine? If you have a piece of paper, write it down. Take a few moments here to write out what you are noticing as you're sitting inside of these 6 points with your grounding cord on and sitting in the center of your head. And I would love to hear from a few of you. So if you would email me what you're noticing at drnadine111@gmail.com, send me what you're noticing, and then I can weave it into our next class so that your voice is being heard and we still have a clear recording. And I'll give you that email address again as we get closer to our end of our night. What do you notice? I would like to share a story with you. When I did this previously, I had a gentleman who had been to war. And in war, you have to take a life. And for years, he couldn't sleep. He was so in distress about what he had to do. And all of that stuff like running through his bodies. His response when he was inside of these 6 roses for the first time, he said, for the first time, I feel like I can move forward. For the first time, I feel safe. Big word. I feel safe. And take a breath. I feel safe inside of my aura, inside of my space that is simply delineated between these 6 points that says inside of these 6 points are mine to manage. And that's very doable. Outside of those 6 points is Shakespeare's theater. And if we want to set up that other rose we were talking about, I usually, when I walk into a room, the first thing I do is put up a rose in the room to collect up the energy of the room so that I can clear out everybody else's blech before I step in with my presence. And take a breath. Notice what you notice. And now we're going to do a little bit of work. So we'd like to use these tools. We're going to use the grounding cord. We're going to use the rose tool to clear a little bit tonight. And then again, when we come back for the other sessions, they will be huge working sessions. But I would like to give you a taste of the power of this tool over the next little bit while we're here together. So take a breath. Again, eyes open, I want you to acknowledge those 6 roses that say, this is who I am. I belong inside of these 6 points, and I'm only responsible what's inside of this container, inside of this aura, if you will, inside of my energy field. Now, a question that came through is, somebody asked and sent me an email that said, are these 6 points the same thing as my power field? And I'm going to say they're the beginning of the power field. So this class that you're in right now, called Essential Energy Tools, is a taste of what is possible in the power field course. But on the power field course, we actually are going to connect all these lines together, and we're going to turn them on, and we're going to do what are called axis lines. There's a lot more work involved. It's a 21-hour class that we co-create together. So to answer the question, are these 6 points the same thing as the power field? And the answer is no, but they're the structure, they're the starting point to build the power field. Because the power field will become a small engine that turns on a big engine. Lots of work to that tube torus that we would create. So you're starting with these 6 points. Eyes are closed. Take a breath. So just to help yourself out, what color are your 6 roses? Just notice what color you chose. And we would like to do a working rose that is a different color. So as an example, if the rose that you created that has the 6 points around you is red, then when I say create a rose, pick a different color. We would like to put the working rose inside of your aura. All right? So would everyone create a rose inside of your aura, so it's between your heart and the rose in front of you or to the side? Now, would you simply give the command to this rose to collect up the very first person you think of? So let's say the person's name is John. Rose, I command you to collect up all of John's energy that is running inside of my field, inside of these 6 points. Simply give the command and allow the rose to do the work. Have the rose collect the energy up from in front of you, from behind you, side. A lot of times when others like to throw energy at us, they do it from behind. They are not courageous enough to stand in front of us, so they throw from the side or they throw from behind. And just notice, I don't want you to do anything with the rose. I just want you to notice and get a little humorous here. Did your rose turn into like a whole field of roses collecting up this person's energy that's sitting in your space, your field, your aura? Now, from the center of your head, you can see huge peripheral from far left to far right with this in the center of your head. Would you look at how much energy is sitting in those roses that are in your field right now? Of this one person's energy in your field that you've been carrying around all day, all month, maybe for your entire life. Humor, ha ha ha, laugh, ha 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 ha. Now the question is, do you still want to hang on to all this dead weight, all this emotional drama, all this chaos? Do you want to hang on to somebody else's BS? And if the answer is no, then what I'd like you to do is to give the command to the rose to explode. Shatter. And what you're doing by exploding the rose is you're bringing the energy down to the smallest particle out there called an adamantine particle. It cannot be divided again. It is the smallest of the smallest of the smallest. And now would you allow all those particles to slide down that grounding cord? And take a breath. Notice what changed in your body. Would you create another working rose? Would you give the command to that working rose to collect up that very same person's energy out of your emotional body? Breathe. Let it be entertained by, oh my God, look at, seriously? Oh my God. Look at all that energy coming out of your emotional body related to that person. And would you explode the roses? And take a breath. Let's do it again. Create another rose. This time, give the command to collect that very same person's energy out of your mental body. All the thoughts, the mental game, a lot of passive-aggressive energy caught in between that mental and emotional body. And, you know, the funny thing is, it's a game. It's a game to these other people. And, you know, we thought the point was to win the game. And it's like, no, the part of is how do I clear you out of my space so I can live in my own space. I can live in my own life and I can make conscious choices for myself. Exploding all those roses, allowing all that energy to go down the grounding cord. And take a breath. Now, if you happen to have a chair that rolls or turns, would you simply turn your direction just so you're facing a different way? And would you create another rose? And who is the very first person you think of is that, oh my God, you're in my space. Would you give the command to pull their energy out of your physical space, again, your emotional space and your mental space? I'm just going to give you some quiet time here. So you give the command and you work the energy. Good job. Now, what do you want to do with that energy? You can keep it if you like, but it's not yours. So would you consider giving yourself permission to explode all that energy, breaking it down to an adamantine particle, and releasing it down your grounding cord? Very nice. Take a breath. I wanted to show you another way you can use the rose tool. So if you can use the rose tool to take somebody else out of your space, you can also use the rose tool to bring you back home. So, would you create a rose? And would you give the rose the command to collect you up out of all the places you left yourself today? Maybe you left yourself at the counter when you were shopping, or when you were putting your socks on in the morning, or when you were driving the car. You left little pieces of you out there. Maybe part of you is still involved in a conversation. Pull you back, bring you back home. And notice what's happening with the rose. As you give yourself permission to bring you back home, usually what I see is the roses are blooming, and all of a sudden you have a bouquet of all this glory and beauty and awe. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. This is me. Bring you back home. And would you drop the rose or roses, bouquet, field of roses? Would you reach up at the top of your head to your crown chakra? And would you allow all that energy to now flood into your crown chakra, bringing you back to you? Take a breath. And as all of that energy is now coming back, would you give the command to integrate you with you? And would you be pleased with yourself? Would you tune within? What do you notice? What do you notice about yourself? How does your body feel? The thing I've learned about these tools is they're very easy. And when we want to change our mode from being unconscious to being conscious, here's an opportunity to consciously choose the tool. And what I've discovered is when we practice, when it doesn't count, meaning we're practicing when the day is great, we're practicing when the car is working, we're practicing, again, when it doesn't count, we're not under stress, we're not in overwhelm. We learn that pattern and we weave those patterns together so that when I say when the shit hits the fan, you can reach for the tool because you've been practicing it. If we don't practice when it doesn't count, shit hits the fan, and all of a sudden, where are we? You guessed it. We're right in the middle of our same old, overwhelm, drama, chaos, noise. And instead of being neutral, we're in the mess. We're in the mud with the pig. And guess who's having a blast? The pig. So, very consciously, while you're being very aware, open your eyes. And would you be very conscious of being in the center of your head with your eyes open? That straight line that joined your brain left to right, front to back, right there in the center of your head. Choose to be there now. Say hello to your grounding cord. Don't change it, just notice, did it shrink? And now choose. Where do you want your grounding cord to be? Take a breath, remembering that the breath brings you into this moment, present time. And now, would you see a rose way out in front of you? It's like the fence line. It says, hey, that's your property over there. This is mine over here. Like Shakespeare's theater's over there. The toxins are over there. The bad food's over there. I'm only responsible for, what's happening inside my yard. And now, would you be very, very conscious of your 6 roses that delineate your aura, your field of energy? Your space is another way people will say this. So there's a rose in front of you. Touch them. Acknowledge them. Make them real. A rose behind you. A rose on either side, left and right. And a rose above your head. A rose below your feet that actually goes into the grounding cord. Just as a side note, when we actually build out the personal power field course, there's actually a column of light that runs through you, and that grounding cord is like literally in the center of that column of light. Just for another day, but just so you know that we're building on everything I'm teaching you in this session. We're going to build on, build on, build on. So take a breath. And let's blow up a few more roses. So would you create a rose, a working rose? Would you give the rose the command to collect up a person that or situation, a person or situation that it's just right in your face where you have to make a decision, or you have to do an errand, something that it's a situational kind of thing that has your energy. It just has your awareness right now. Just give the command to the rose to collect up that situation, that event that has your awareness right now, so that you can put it to bed. For now, you can pick it up another day if you want to. But for right now, and would you explode that rose and let all the releasing go down the grounding cord? And we're going to do the same pattern, so just so you can see we can change things, yet I find it very, very helpful to work one tool. Work it, work it, work it, work it. So create another rose. Give it the command to collect up whoever jumps in your face right now, your space. Who's the name? What's the event? What's the situation? Whatever has your awareness, give the rose the command to collect up that person, events, situation's energy. Explode the rose, allowing all that energy to go down your grounding cord. There you go. And let's do 3 or 4 more. So here's the instructions. Create the rose. Give the command to the rose to collect up the energy, person, place, or thing. Explode the rose, allowing all that energy that is not you go down the grounding cord. And I would like you to do this 7 times. I'm just going to give you quiet time here. 7 roses, 7 commands, 7 releases. Go. And would you bring that to completion? Job well done. Now, how I like to end this first session is to help you fill in your energy field. So if you look around, you have let a lot of stuff go tonight. But all that space is open for you to have more of you in present time, present moment. And we're going to do that with what I call a golden sun, or a ball. Like if you've ever been to a gym and they have those big fit balls, we're going to put the ball above your head. I call it a golden sun. Would you give the command to the ball to collect up your energy on feeling safe? Feeling safe. This golden sun knows exactly where to go, collect up all the energy you left out, this planet, this dimension, another dimension, all the places where you feel safe, and it's bringing you back home to you. I feel safe. When that ball is good and large, would you reach up and pop the ball, allowing that liquid gold? It may feel like warm honey. It's going to come into the 7th chakra right at the top of your head, and it's going to start flooding into every cell of your being, going from the 7th chakra to the 6th chakra, to the 5th chakra, to the 4th chakra, sitting in the center of your heart, to the 3rd chakra, to the 2nd chakra, to the 1st chakra, and it's going to ooze out of your ears, your eyes, your fingertips, your nose, your toes, and it's going to start filling in from the bottom up all the inside of those 6 points. So that liquid gold coming in on the vibration of safe. I am safe. And take a breath. While this continues to come in, would you put a 2nd gold sun above your head? And would you have this one bring in your vibration of being well? Being well. Again, the ball is going to go to the edges of the universe and collect up all of your energy around being well. And then reach up with it, your non-dominant hand, pop it. And notice that when this vibration comes in, similar, different, it will dance, it will play with, it will commingle with being safe. And being well will flood into every cell of your body, down all 7 chakras. It'll ooze out all those ears, nose, fingers, toes, and it will also fill in that space around you. You should be glowing pretty well right now. I am safe. I am being well. And then put a 3rd ball above your head and give it the command to bring balance. Bringing balance. And you may ask yourself, what color is balance for me? Bringing balance. And then again, reach up with your non-dominant hand, popping that energy so that balance can now flood in and flow with being well, and I am safe. I am safe. I am well. I love being well. I am in balance. I'm so pleased with myself for coming to this class today to experience being inside of my roses, to experience being in the center of my head, to experience my grounding cord that releases all that's not me. So anything that's still in my field that's not safe goes down the grounding cord. Anything that's not being well, down the grounding cord. Anything that's not balanced, guess what? Down the grounding cord. And take a breath. Bring all that you are into present time, present moment. Would you allow your eyelids to open? Would you stretch into all of this golden energy of safe, being well, and balance? Stand up in the energy, move around in the energy. Notice that no matter where you stand, lie, walk, you are in a triad of being well, balance, and safe. And the more in balance you walk, the more you can be well. The more in balance you walk, the more you are safe. The more being well you are more balanced. You are more safe. It goes round and round in that, what we call a tripod or a tetrahedron, 3 points, being well, balance, and safe. And take a breath. Would you be pleased with yourself for what you created today? Again, I am going to highly recommend that you practice these from now until when we meet again, being in the center of your head, taking a breath, and your rose, 6 points, grounding cord, and your golden sun. If you have questions that you would like me to address in our next session, would you please email them to me? Hopefully you've seen my email address multiple times, but it's drnadine111@gmail.com. And then I will collect all the questions and create an audio like this where I either address them in our next session or I have a specific recording for you that's just the questions and the responses to the questions. Thank you very, very much for attending, and we will meet again in a week's time. Again, practice when it doesn't count. And then when we come back in, again, session 2 and session 3, we're going to use the Rose tool. There's a really big one around love I want to do. It's a really powerful one. And then in one of the sessions we are going to use what's called a truth or lie rose. It's similar to muscle testing. It's just another tool you can use to ask yourself, is this my truth or is this a lie? So a lot more coming up. Again, I'll hang out here. Thank you very much for attending, and blessings. Have a great rest of your day or evening wherever you happen to be. Namaste.